Oh wow. Now my little I want to go unlive now because what my little window didn't miss me. All right, y'all. Hey, we're going beyond business basics for the business growth information because let's face it, it's all across YouTube, including some of our own past morning show episodes. You got enough basic information out there, okay? We are taking you to the next level. It all started yesterday. No, it didn't, but it was supposed to. With discussion questions, okay? So those discussion questions were, do you think most entrepreneurs underprice their services, especially service-based entrepreneurs? What do you think is the hardest part about setting your prices? And if you doubled your prices tomorrow, what would concern you the most? All right. We're going to start in studio with Dr. Latoya Davis. Dr. Latoya Davis, you want to answer each question, or would you rather give an encompassing answer that kind of hits all the hot spots?
I can answer each question.
All
I
right.
definitely believe that most entrepreneurs underprice their services. The hardest part about setting prices, I think, is mentality. It's fear of rejection and mentality of believing that the value of the price is um, tied to like what they're putting out, or I don't know, it's tied to something that's not real. And if I double my prices tomorrow, what would concern me the most?
Yes.
Um, I think I know I said I had answers. What would concern me the most, I think, is just changing. I would have to reevaluate my positioning. So
Mm.
it's not really a concern, but that would be what would need to switch because I'm already slightly high tier. So I would have to go back in and just kind of refine positioning and languaging.
I love that. I love that. All right, all right. Let's go to Shawana Kennedy, Kennedy Media. Do you think most entrepreneurs underprice their services? What do you think is the hardest part about setting your prices? And if you had to double your prices tomorrow, what would concern you the most?
Okay, I'm gonna say ditto to what Dr. Latoya said. However, I'm not gonna rest there because I know you don't like that.
No, I don't.
Yeah, so of course, yes, underpriced. We went through this when I went through your mapping,
Mhm.
and we did raise our prices. Some people we know they resisted, but others they did not have a problem. So yes, been there, done that, and we're not doing that anymore. The hardest part is I believe that, yeah, it's still that people understanding the value of the service that you provide and being able to clearly communicate what that transformation, what those results will be. That's why sometimes it can be a little bit tricky when you go to do that because it's already you're trying to make sure they see the value, whatever the lower price might be. And then when you raise the price, it's like, again, here we are making sure they understand why the price is the price. And we really have to be okay to stand on that price. So it can be hard, but we need to do it. If I double my prices tomorrow, what would be my most concern? Again, making sure that there's proof in the pudding that the prices it definitely match the service, and we know in most cases it's going beyond above and beyond what even the service is, so that they really kind of get more for the bang. So yeah, that's why I said I totally agree on all three.
All right. Loving it, loving it, loving it. Can tell y'all listening in on the morning show. I appreciate that. Over here on the YouTube side, we got Shantali. Good morning, Shantali. She is over there answering the questions. So I'll get to you after Dr. Tachi, who is in the studio. So, Dr. Tachi, do you want to answer each question separately or give me an all encompassing answer?
Separately,
Okay.
like rice. So I think yes, just as been has been said that most entrepreneurs do underprice their services and undervalue their services for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the hardest part about setting the price is not having a a litmus test for what the price should be,
Mm-hmm.
especially in certain fields. So like for me, notoriously people that are like in video, etc., they're not forthcoming about their prices. So you don't know where the standard should be, even if you look it up. So that's sometimes what the hardest part is, making sure that it's at least industry standard. And then,
Love that.
excuse me, doubling the prices tomorrow, what would concern? Uh, like if I were to double things all of a sudden, then it's like refiguring out what the levels should be. I think that would be the hardest part, because after whatever you double it to, there's another level. So what does that entail, and what services does that entail? To me, that would be the most difficult part.
Cool beans. I love that. Thank you for your input. Over here on the YouTube side, Shamsali said, yes, they underpriced, especially women, especially spiritual or heart-centered services. The hardest part would be overcoming imposter syndrome. Yep. If I doubled my price, I would be concerned about aligning with the right audience for that price and providing value. Man, I love y'all. I swear, I love y'all. Great. So let's get into it, okay? Because this whole conversation, y'all are hitting things right on the head. But the old strategy, the basic strategy for pricing included value perception, competitive analysis, and pricing psychology. You know, that should it be end in 7? Should it be 99? You know, all of that kind of stuff, right? So that's the old basic formula. But we're going to the next level. And so our next level formula is taking things from a pricing strategy to intentional profit building. And I feel like that shift is the shift that makes you think about it differently. That shift is the shift that brings you out of yourself and into your business. Okay, so I'm gonna give you what those 3 parts of the next level formula is. You need to go from time-based pricing to business economics. Oh, I can't wait to get into that one. I'm glad that's first. Okay, then you need to go from service pricing to transformation pricing. Then you need to go from pricing decisions to a pricing portfolio. And if you have ever heard me talk about pricing in any workshop, you know I have a pricing portfolio of 3 prices per offer that I'm deciding as I'm putting the offer together. Okay. And so we'll talk about that. All right. This is the part where I'm gonna hold your hand, okay, when I say this, because pricing, like Dr. Toya said, can very much be emotional and mental. So this sentence might hit you, but just remember, I love you. All right. So most of you, especially service-based businesses, are pricing your expertise. Well, you're turning it into pricing your time, right? Which turns into what feels like pricing your self-worth, which turns into pricing your time instead of pricing the value of the transformation. Okay? It's like most of you have, and you know, some of this has to do with quote unquote money blocks, right? But a lot of it still goes back down to your self-worth. Because when you understand your expertise, when you understand the way that your expertise can show up in somebody else's life and change it, show up in their business and change it, and understand the value of that transformation, you're not going to play small with your pricing anymore. Okay. So, you know, one of you said something about rejection. I think it was Shawana Kennedy. Rejection is in there too, because you feel like people are going to reject you when your self-worth is down. Because think about it, when your self-worth is high, you don't worry about rejection. In fact, you like, what? There are plenty of fish in the sea when you have that self-worth, right? So keep that in mind. We have to come out of ourselves and get into the business. And that's why this first part of it is just magnifique. Okay. I don't even know if I said that right, because you know I don't say American words, right? So that might have been wrong. But hey, you know what I meant. So let's get into this intentional profit building formula. All right. The first part of the formula is going from time-based pricing to business economics. This is where off the bat you're getting out of ourselves and jumping into the business. Okay. So the price the business before you price the service. High performing businesses begin with, what does it actually cost my business to deliver this transformation successfully? In this next level, you should be auditing the complete cost of delivery for your service and not just the labor, right? Because that labor is when y'all think about pricing your expertise, well, really you look at pricing your time, because you don't look at pricing your expertise, because it might be a little higher if you did that. But when you look at pricing your time, y'all are really, excuse my French, pulling numbers out your ass, okay? And I don't want you to do that, because the number that you pulling out your ass ain't big enough. That's just it. So let me tell you some things that you should be considering with your pricing. This is where we get into the business and then into the business economics. Your pricing should consider direct costs, contractor support, software, all that tech y'all over there hoarding because you don't want to hire nobody. That costs money. Why is that cost not being passed on to the clients? Okay. The cost of materials that you use. Are you one of those people that have to have pen and paper all the time? How many notebooks you got out there writing on? How many pens you done ran out of ink on? Okay. What kind of technology, we talked about that. What kind of payment processing? Okay. I have one client that, baby, let me tell you how she ain't paying no PayPal fees. She's not paying no Stripe fees. That stuff roll right into the cost to her clients. Okay. Are you out here saying, oh, well, I told him it's going to be this, so by the time it go through Stripe, it's not going to be this. Baby, roll that into the price. Okay. Client gifts. Okay. Or what seems like client gifts. Do you understand that if you were a corporation, client gifts is a marketing expense? You out here just giving stuff away and eating the cost? Let it out. Okay. Travel. Now, if you have to travel locally or if you have to travel outside of your city, outside of your state, outside of your country, that should cost. Okay. Production expenses. And when I say production, don't think just video, because production is whatever you produce. What is the expense of what you're producing? So those are direct costs. Let's talk about some indirect costs, okay? Sales time. Do you even know how long it takes you to go from lead to sale and how much of your time is being taken up doing it? Sales time, onboarding time. A part of my onboarding, and probably most of you with a service, is you have to do an assessment, right? I have started charging differently from my assessments because they are really deep dives that tell me where to start when I actually start the service. So I have pulled that assessment out and it has its own price and it's its own stage of the client journey. What does your onboarding look like and what costs are associated with it? Administration. Some of y'all at least have one VA, but you're not even wrapping the cost of the one VA into what the clients need. That's an expense. It should be wrapped in. Okay. Communication, especially your communication tools. Are you paying for Slack? Are you paying for whatever you're using? Communication. Okay. I don't know about you, but that G Suite email ain't free. And I don't care if it's only $6 a month. I'm gonna make sure the clients are paying for it. It's not coming out of my pocket. Okay. That's not business when things are coming out of your pocket. Revision. Now, we've talked about this before. I wish our good brother Keith Montgomery was on here, because he loves to talk about this too. When you are a creative, and even if you are an expert that produces documents, there are revisions associated with that. First of all, you should have a cap on revisions, because if you don't, they're going to revision you to death. But even when you have a cap on revisions, that's the time it took you to put it all together and the time it's going to take you to keep changing. There should be a cost associated with that, okay? Project management, the way that you are collecting things and getting ready for the client. Do you even at least have some type of setup fee, right? Because it's no small fee to get a new client and start setting up folder structures and everything, getting ready for them. It's no small feat to not only provide the service, but to provide it in phases that are organized where the client feels like the experience is just top tier. Project management, okay? Your marketing fees, your taxes, your overhead, whatever your overhead is. Some of y'all love to go to a co-working space. Are y'all wrapping that cost in? Right? Even if you go to a coffee shop every now and then, what's the cost of that coffee because you're not at home? Okay, what's the cost of the cost of that little sad bagel they got over there at Starbucks? Okay, wrap it in. Now let's talk about capacity costs, opportunity costs. Okay, opportunity costs. What is your capacity? And if you take them on, if you take on another client, how does that impact capacity? Because if you're working for them, that means there are other things you can't do, right? When you say a yes, you're gonna have to give some no's. So what is the bringing on another client actually costing you? All right, scheduling limitations, scheduling limitations. How is that costing you? Some of you might have clients in different time zones. What does it cost you to accommodate them? What does it cost you to accommodate somebody that's always last minute and asking you to do stuff last minute? Scheduling limitations, energy requirement. There's a cost to you expelling energy. What does that cost? Okay, delivery complexity. There's always different levels of your deliverables. There are things that are simple for you to do. That, you know, you can probably have it done in, let's say, an hour tops and roll it on out. Then there's stuff that takes more of you, right? And then there's stuff that, Lord, it takes you, AI, and a VA to deliver. It should be cost associated with that, right? Cognitive load, cognitive load. So when you have a limited schedule, you have a limited amount of thinking you can do on somebody else's behalf. That price should be higher because you're able to take fewer people, right? So you have to think about things like that and wrap those costs in. So only after understanding the economics can you determine whether a price is suitable. That's just a starting point. Okay. So the transformation is stop just making things time-based. And some of y'all are not pricing your time right anyway. But stop doing time-based and get into the economics of your business. So stop saying how many hours and start asking, what does this business need this service to produce financially? All right, cool beans. Let's go to our second step of this formula. We need to go from service pricing to transformation pricing, okay? We're going to price the outcome, not the things that we do to produce the service. Okay, so we already kind of did that in part one. Now we're adding in value from what are they going to get out of it, and what they get out of it, what is that worth? Okay, so most of you, when you think about this, you might think about meetings, the deliverables, the hours it took, the number of sessions that it took, the number of documents you have to produce, right? But that's actually not what clients buy. And that's why when you're selling to them, you stop telling them about the deliverables, about the features, and you get into the transformation, because clients buy confidence, they buy growth, they buy simplicity, freedom, clarity, more money, more time, reduced risk. And when it comes to time, they reduce time that it takes them to do stuff. Okay, they want to buy back more time, but they want to spend less of their time. So both ways. Okay. So the next level is identifying the economic, strategic, emotional, and operational value of the transformation. Okay. So let's talk about three different types of value. Economic. Will this help increase revenue, reduce expenses, improve efficiency, increase retention? That's the economic value to them. All right. Economic value to them. Will this help increase their revenue? Will it help reduce their expenses? Will it help improve their efficiency? Will it help increase retention of their own clients? Okay, that's an example of economic value. Strategic value. Clients pay for the transformation of strategic value. Will this improve their decision making? Because most clients don't trust their own decision making. This is part of why when we're selling to them, we have to help them make a buying decision. Well, they don't trust their decisions, right? Because they feel like their decisions is what got them the business that they have right now that they need help with, or the life that they have right now that they need help with. Okay. So there's always the who they are right now and who they want to be, and in between are decisions. So they need strategy, right? Support scaling or support changing their life. Okay. Reducing bottlenecks. What are the obstacles that are slowing them down from getting from A to B, who they are now to who they want to be? What are those obstacles? The strategy that busts through those bottlenecks, that's what they're willing to pay for. That's what's valuable. Okay. Let's go to emotional value, because we know buying is an emotional thing, right? It's an emotional thing. I don't care how logical you think you are, because logic probably said you should have bought it long ago, and logic didn't make you buy it when you first realized you needed it. It was something that hurt you or something you were tired of. It was an emotional trigger that made you buy now. Okay. So there's emotional value associated with what they feel like is value. So will it reduce their stress? Will it increase their confidence? Will it restore their peace of mind? So your offer could have emotional value. Last but not least, opportunity value. Okay. What opportunities become possible because you help them solve this problem, right? Because the conversation should go from here's what you receive to here's what becomes possible. Okay. Now, it's crazy because one of the things that I always talk about when I'm talking to people about do you need a fractional COO in your business or not, I stop talking about the things that I do and I start talking about who they can become, right? If I am in your business, these are some of the things you can become in your own business. Because a lot of business owners are tired of being in the weeds and doing admin stuff. They're tired of team members always dinging them, even though they hired a bunch of doers. They want somebody else to take over that stuff so they can just do what they want to do in their business. That's who they want to become. So I'm not going to tell you, oh, we're going to have 3 meetings. We're going to, we're going to create this document. We're going to change your org chart. That means nothing to them. That might be what I have to do, but that means nothing to them. But if I tell them, hey, you can go sing with the birds most of the time, and then you can just be the talent when we do the webinar, that's what they want to hear. All right? Cool beans. So what are some strategies? Because I done talked to death about what it's supposed to be, what it ain't supposed to be. Well, transformation mapping. Document every outcome the client receives, because they receive more than just a big outcome. There are small wins along the way. I tell y'all this story all the time about in the first week that I am hired as a fractional COO, they feel so much relief. Now, the business has not changed, but how they're experiencing their own business instantly changes because I'm the barrier between them and so much stress and so many things that take up their time. It now comes to me instead of them. So in the first week, they get worried about when am I supposed to leave? They get worried about, do they understand the contract? Like, how long is the contract? Transformation mapping. What is some of the things all along the way? Because that is a huge win that they feel that relief. But the business is the same. I haven't even really gotten to work yet to change anything. But there are wins along the way, and you should map all of them. Okay. The cost of inaction. We talk about this in sales, right? But you need to help your clients or your future clients understand the financial and operational cost of remaining where they are. You need to help your clients understand the cost of continuing their life in a way that is not their own, where they don't feel empowered, where they don't feel like they're living their best life. What is the cost of that? So, what is the cost of inaction, right? Value stacking. Show how multiple outcomes compound rather than listing isolated deliverables, right? In phase one, we're delivering this. In phase two of the service, you're going to get this. And to get to phase three, we got to finish that. No, that's not how you talk. Talk about the value. Y'all know what? A great example of value stacking about outcomes is the new ads they have on Facebook about the it only takes 28 days for you to learn, I don't know, what's the one right now going on? A walking Tai Chi yoga is the one I'm seeing right now. And they love to tell you in the first week, you're gonna be tired and it's gonna hurt. But in the second week, you're gonna notice you have more energy. In the third week, you're gonna notice that your clothes fit a little looser. In the fourth week, that's value stacking when it comes to outcomes. Again, it's not just the end result. Value stack those multiple outcomes because they all compound and they are better than telling them, oh, in the first week, we're going to do these kind of exercises. In the second week, we're going to do, standing rotations instead of on the ground on the mat, whatever, right? I said rotations. I think it's salutation. My bad, yoga people. Anyway, value stack. Last but not least, you need to have these return on investment conversations. If you only shop people with a sticker price, because there are people out in the world who don't have a problem with pricing their stuff high ticket. Let me tell you how Dr. Toya is one of them. Dr. Toya don't care nothing about that it's premium pricing because she knows she's performing a premium service. So she don't really have the mental stuff that a lot of people have. But you know what you have to have in there, even if you're confident in your pricing, you have to have conversations about return on investment because the investment is this, my return should be this, right? So when appropriate, help your clients connect to the investment, well, I should say connect the investment to the measurable outcomes that they're going to get with your service. All right. Cool beans. So that transformation again is going from service pricing to transformation pricing. You stop pricing the task, okay, and the service itself, and you price the measurable change your expertise. All right, last but not least, the third part of our formula is going from pricing decisions to pricing portfolio, okay? Portfolio. So that means you should have a group of pricing, okay? And I'm not even talking about a offer ladder, but let's get into the details first, all right? And don't forget, I'm on the last part of the formula, so you should be thinking, which one of these things do I already use with success? Which one do I need to use that I know is going to be game changing? And do I have any obstacles to adding this game changing strategy to my pricing? That's what you should be thinking because that's what I'm going to ask you next. All right, cool. Third one, from pricing decision to pricing portfolio. You need to just design a pricing ecosystem. Every time we talk about next level, you're going to hear ecosystem, you're going to hear architecture, because that's what the next level is. The next level is not these individual pieces randomly, willy-nilly out there. It is putting things together to make sense, to work together, right? So designing pricing ecosystem that supports your growth. The next level is recognizing that no single price exists in isolation. Every price influences buyer entry, perceived value, client progression, profitability, delivery capacity. Let me go back to what that means. Again, if you know that what you do is so all-encompassing, you can only have 3 clients because you're working by yourself as a solopreneur. Maybe you got a VA, but they're not helping you produce the service, right? So you can only take 3 people at a time. Well, you better be pricing stuff so that with 3 people at a time, you can eat tomorrow, okay? Let me get off of that. But that was delivery capacity. Lifetime value, okay? We need to be thinking about that. So your prices should work together as a system. These are the things you want to ask about to kind of start to build this system. Does this price attract the right clients? Yeah, I'm purposely quiet because see, some of y'all think that if you could just lower the price a little bit, then people will go ahead and pick you or go ahead and give you some money. Because some money is better than no money. No, ma'am. That is why we have low ticket offers and down sales. That don't mean take your high price offer and reduce the price, even though you still got to do all that work. No, that's not what that means. Okay. So you attract the right clients with the right pricing. Did you know that if your price is too low and you're trying to attract a client that understands the value of what they need, they won't go with you with your little low price because they feel like you don't know what you're doing. Because if you knew what you were doing, the price would not be that low. Did you know that if you take your high transformation service and price it low, that you're going to attract people that not only take you up on that low price, but they finna work you like a $2. Okay? So the right pricing attracts the right clients. Next question. Does the price support the level of service that you promised? Lord have mercy. Y'all love to look over on the other person's plate. Y'all love to do it. Y'all take competitive analysis way too far. Y'all look on the other person's plate, and then that just makes you judge your plate and make you feel bad. So now you're trying to do what they do, not knowing why they're doing what they're doing and not knowing what support they have to do what they do. Okay? So you can't, I've had people that wanted to have, because they were charging what they felt like was high ticket, they wanted to do like other programs. Or I want my clients to come in and get an onboarding box with all of this stuff sent to their house. I want to have, a client appreciation event and all these things. And all that stuff costs money. And meanwhile, your prices is pennies. So the cost of all of that stuff would come out your pocket. Cut it out. So does the price support level match the service you promise? All right. All right. Does this price allow room for profit? Does this price naturally lead to another offer ladder? Does this price align with my desired workload? Now, I'm good for that one. Okay. Because there's only so much work I want to do. It's only so much work I'm willing to do. Shout out to Dr. Toya, because we twins in that. We start looking at stuff like, yeah, I don't care how much money I can make off that. I'm not doing all that. Okay. Last but not least, does this price communicate the positioning of my brand? How you a luxury brand out here charging pennies on the dollar? Cut it out. Alignment. All right. Now, here are some strategies, because I feel like I fussed at you enough. Here are some strategies. Offer ladder alignment. Ensure that your prices create a logical movement through your ecosystem. This helps me in particular a lot. I have my own money blocks. I have my own pricing issues, right? But the thing that helps me to kind of start off with what my pricing should be is, where does it fit in my offer ladder? Because if the service fits in the middle of low price and high price, then that means this has to be higher than the low price and lower than the high price, right? Because that's where it fits. Well, guess what? That at least starts to help me to create a picture. Where does it fall in your ladder alignment? Capacity-based pricing. I've been hooting and hollering about this one already. So you need to adjust your pricing based on your delivery limits and your delivery availability. How much of your time does it take? Because if it takes the time of having 2 clients, then it should be twice the price. Okay, keep that in mind. You're not supposed to lose for anything that you're doing in your business. You're supposed to price appropriately. Value segmentation. Offer different levels of transformation for different levels of investment. So I'm going to change my website, but my website was very much, currently still is, based on how much you want to invest. You ain't got no money and a little time. Here, get this little free stuff, because what you want me to do? Okay. You got a little money, a little time. Okay, get this low value stuff. All right. You got more time than money. Okay, maybe we can do a done with you type of thing where you can save some money, but you're going to do a lot of the work. Right. But you're not getting done for you while I do everything for pennies, because done for you is people who got way more money than they got time. And if that's not you, why are you expecting done for you services? All right. Value segmentation. Profit margin targets. Set prices that intentionally achieve desired profitability rather than hoping revenue covers your costs. I'll give it to you another way, because I have really started hammering home to you guys to pick your revenue goal, pick your fantasy revenue goal. Now you got this big number. Next thing I do is go to your pricing. How many of this offer that I already know is priced too low, but I'm gonna help you realize it? How many of this offer do you have to sell to make this revenue go? And when y'all start realizing the sheer number of offers you have to sell in a month to make this revenue number, you start looking at that pricing. You start looking at that pricing. When you start to look at, okay, even if I sell that many, that is a fraction of the people I have to get in front of to sell that many. So if my closing rate is like 10%, 10 times the people I'm going to have to get in front of? And what is your marketing doing? How many people is your marketing putting you in front of? So it starts to redo the math in your head. You come out of that worth and you go into how much work do I want to do for this profit margin that I'm talking about that I want. Okay. So set your prices based on intention. Pricing reviews. Pricing reviews. Audit your pricing regularly. Your expertise, the demand, costs. Let me tell you what I love about acting, like the world of acting in film. It is they have a clear structure for who is top billing, who name go first, who gonna get paid the most. They have a very structure for what, well, we're not gonna say all actors, because what we understand is actors of color are usually exempt from getting a Grammy and then, or I'm sorry, not a Grammy, but getting a Oscar and then immediately able to hike up their pricing, right? It don't always happen for us of color, but if we look over there at the majority folks that ain't our skin folks, what we find is they have a very clear line of how much they're worth to the film industry. They win an Oscar, they automatically increase their prices and are worth more to a film. So we need more of that clear pricing ladder and worth of our service, right? So if you start winning awards and you start getting media, your prices should go up. More people know about you. You have an accolade that not everybody on that was do what you do have. Every time you achieve something, you should be upping those prices. Every time you get more transformation proof, you should be upping those prices. Okay. So you only do that when you're auditing your prices more. So the transformation is going from pricing decision to pricing portfolio. So I want to talk about portfolio. When I coach, when I have a workshop, when I'm doing a roadmap, I automatically, for every offer, assign 3 prices. 3 prices for every single offer. There is your value of that transformation from the service. That's the highest value, right? There is your regular price, which is usually under the value, and that's a part of how you're helping them to understand that it's a great thing to go ahead and get it, right? And then there's your promotional price. When you put that thing on sale, what is that price? And guess what? All 3 prices, including the promotional price, should have profit built in. Promotional price and the sale does not mean you don't get a profit from it. Okay, so those are the 3 prices per offer that I have my clients to put in to create their pricing portfolio. All right, now your complete formula from time-based pricing to business economics. Understand the true financial cost of delivering that transformation. All right, number 2, from service pricing to transformation pricing. Price the measurable business, emotional, strategic, and operational outcomes instead of the activity. These are the level of value that they see besides just what you're doing and what they get. All right. Number 3, from pricing decision to pricing portfolio. Build a pricing ecosystem that supports positioning, profitability, client progression, and long-term growth. Now, let's talk about why this goes beyond basic pricing. And I want you to start thinking about the answer to my question. Which one of these strategies do you use with success? Which one do you know will be game changing as soon as you implement it? And do you have any obstacles to implement it? So get ready to answer the question. Why this goes beyond basic pricing is because basic pricing asks, what are competitors charging? What feels fair? How do people perceive the value? And which price is most attractive? That's basic. Next level, and what I just taught you is, what does this service actually cost my business to deliver? What measurable transformation is being created? What business model does this price support? How does this price affect capacity, positioning, and profitability? And last but not least, does my entire pricing portfolio work together to produce the revenue and lifestyle that I'm about that freedom and that lifestyle. So could you fund your lifestyle off this pricing you got going on? All right. So I want you to go from charging for your services to designing a profit centric powerhouse. That's what I want for you. I would love that for you. Now, I have some bonuses that I would love to give you, but you're going to have to email me and ask me for them. Okay. Whereas in studio, people see this is what benefits you to be in studio. Chantilly, I don't know why you're not in studio. Even if you can't come off the mic, you could be in studio, get all the bonuses of being in studio, and then you can chat in the chat inside the studio. You don't even have to come on camera. You don't have to come off my. Chantilly, what you doing? I'm just saying. All right. So I got some bonuses, but you'll have to email me info@shaycannon.com and say bonuses from today's show. And I'll send you the pricing bonuses that I have. One is some show notes from a past morning show on positioning your pricing. One is from a past morning show that's talking about offer strategies with pricing. And another one is 21 considerations to raise that price. You know your price too low. All right. Cool beans. So before I do my in studio question, let me see what Chantilly been over here talking about. She just said, if I doubted my price, I would be concerned about. Okay, those were still the answers to the first questions early. So you ain't said nothing new, Chantilly, but you need to be in studio with us. Okay, Dr. Toya Davis, what strategy are you using with success? Which one it will be game changing for you to implement, and do you have any obstacles to implement it?
I think I do well the business. Well, I don't know if I do well business economics, but I don't do time-based pricing. Um, so I'll say that. Um, I can do better. I try to implement, okay, here we go. I try to implement transformation pricing because
Mm-hmm.
that's, for my type of business, that is the thing that people are concerned about is the transformation. I could still do better at it. Absolutely. But I think that's kind of where I lean in. And I think one of the things that has been most transformational, and this is particularly since working with you, is the pricing portfolio. I
Mm-hmm.
think I'm in the stages now of like really fine tuning um, what that portfolio looks like. But I feel like I have a really good sense of like the tiers and the levels and the price points. Now I'm tinkering with raising some of like my lower level pricing because I'm like, oh wait, people are really coming in at this point. So let me see if I can
Yes.
adjust a little bit more,
That
raise it up a
demand,
little bit more.
baby.
So that's
Yes.
where I am now. But I love so that you have helped me a lot with the pricing portfolio, and I
Yeah.
need to lean in a little bit more with my transformation pricing.
Yes, let me tell you how that immediately triggers me out of any money blocks. When a lot of people start getting that price needs to go up. Too many of y'all getting let's let's raise the price. Okay. I know that some of us have been in the position where we're on the phone with the client and we're giving a proposal and we give the price and he felt a little uncomfortable giving the price, but we gave it and we shut up afterward and they instantly say, yeah, okay, instantly feel like we done underpriced that thing, right? So that means the next proposal that goes out needs a higher price. Okay, cool beans. Let's go to Shawana Kennedy, Kennedy Media. Shawana, which one of these strategies do you already use with success? Which one do you need to start using because it's going to be game changing? And do you have any obstacle to that game changing?
One of the things that, of course, again, through working with you is, you know, uh, I'm already moving away from the selling deliverables, but I'm more focused on the transformation. What it is constantly, as I even prepared to do content today, is to
Yes.
make sure and me go back over what it is that I may discuss to make sure that transformation is like at the forefront of, I don't care if it's 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 2 minutes, making sure that they hear the transformation of, the video production, whether it is through webinar, podcast, etc. So it's making sure that's why these conversations and coming in every week is very good for me because it keeps a constant reminder in front of me. It's like you're like that post-it on the glass on the mirror, right? But it's like it's voice because I am visual and audio and all audible and all the things. So that's why coming in every week really does help keep me sharp and on my toes. So I just had to add that little bit.
Oh.
Which one of those game changing? Today is just a reminder of really doing those audits more often and what we're what we deliver and making sure that the pricing matches that and reflect that we know the business that we want to live, like you said, a life of freedom and things like that. It's really making sure we're pricing ourselves and our services for what the transformation that we offer. So just that constant reminder, it really does. It helps, and it means a lot to me.
I love that. Look, Chantalie is still listening. She said, I got it. I'll be there next Wednesday. All right. Because you know, we acts up in here. Now, don't forget, Chantalie, you got to be in studio by 8 a.m. Because at 8:15, we ain't letting nobody else come in when we start going live. You know, don't be interrupting us while we on the camera. Okay. All right. Dr. Tachi, which strategy do you already use with success, if any? Which strategy do you know will be game changing once you implement it, and do you have any obstacles to implementing it?
So again, I'm at the point where I'm just at the very beginning of this, but the things that stood out to me, which, okay, now I've lost it, but the value stacking is one, because I really like the concept of showing the value rather than here we do this and then we do this. I love that value stacking. And then there was was it capacity-based pricing? Oh yeah, here we
Yes,
are.
that was one. Yeah.
Yes. So two other capacity-based pricing I think will be really good, because you already know if there's something I don't want to do, I'm not going to do it. So the capacity based pricing, and then the value segmentation.
I love that. I love that. Any obstacles, do you think?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not now, anyway.
Perfect. Well, you look, you know where to come back to if you got some. All right. So Chantalie said, I am already doing transformation strategy, but I need to lean deeper into it. There is no challenge except old mindsets. And then she said she's gonna be on time. All right. So y'all need to email me to get these bonuses because one of them I told you is the show notes, and it's giving you the top 10 strategies to position your offer and pricing power for growth. And so you got 10 of those strategies, okay? The next one is about your pricing is not just a number. So it's giving you exact strategies to make it not just a number, all right? And then there's the one that is 21 considerations to raise your pricing that came from a workshop. This is why the ladies know the answers to these questions, because see, they go deeper than just YouTube, and you should too. All right. So all of this you can get if you email me at info@shaycannon.com and just say, hey, can I get those pricing bonuses from the show? And the answer is yes, you can. We will respond and send you the links to all three. So with that said, I want you to really understand that pricing can make and break your business. All right. You think that you're doing people a service by giving it to them for the lowest price possible so that you win the sale, but you are doing yourself, your business, and them a disservice. All right. Because yeah, it ain't helping nobody. It's not attracting the right people. And how are you going to reach those revenue goals and have the freedom that you say you want from your business when you are underpricing yourself, the transformation, your talents, your gift, and you are actually dishonoring that gift that's supposed to be funding your lifestyle? All right, cool beans. This has been the Make It Make Sense live show discussion, which is an interactive business discussion as part of our free First Six Figures Business Mastermind community right here on YouTube, where I position Black and brown female online service-based entrepreneurs to generate the first six figures by teaching you how to make the money to fund your lifestyle of freedom, but not with them low prices. All right, so this is part of what's supposed to be a week-long discussion. On Tuesday, I'm supposed to give you the discussion questions. I have not. I'm going to get back on it. Wednesday is the live discussion where we talk about the value implied by those questions. We just had that today. And then you would stay tuned for her biz breakdown on Thursdays, which is real-life case studies to show you how people use these strategies, companies that you know, brands that you know, people that you know doing it. I've suspended that for a minute. I think I'm gonna come back to that next week. And then on Fridays, I usually share with you the links to where we talked about the basics and foundation of the strategies. And again, we're not doing that this week, but I'm gonna get back to it on next week. I promise. And I don't take my word lightly. All right, guys, have a great day. We'll see you back here next Wednesday. All right, ladies, pricing. Y'all got work to do, or like, do you need to go back through old